Gretchen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here, Juliet.
Good, good, good. I am so excited to have you as a contributor for 2025 because most of my clientele are coaches and many of them are writing books to get more business. But
Hmm.
I have a feeling and know from my own personal experience that you should have really been their first stop on
I love that.
monetizing. So,
Yes.
and I think I told you my own experience a few minutes ago that I didn't dive in with coaching in 2010. I didn't until 2016. So I had a real struggle fast. And then after I actually invested in the coaching, everything took off. So talk
That's,
about that. Do you see that a lot?
I was just going to say, this is like everybody's story. Here's one of the things that I think is so fascinating when it comes to coaching. Coaching is one of the only industries where the person with that profession does not want to hire another person with that profession. So coaches often don't have coaches, and then they wonder why, one, they're not earning income, and two, why their clients are having a hard time saying yes to the investment with them. And the truth is that if you have not invested yourself in coaching, it is hard to sell it. It's really hard to sell it because one, you don't understand the benefits. You might understand from a schooling perspective the benefits, but you don't understand it because you've not received it. And there's a lot of different types of coaches. You can get personal coaching, you can get business coaching, but get some coaching. Get some coaching.
Absolutely. And I just want to bring up too, for all you out there, if you're just calling yourself a life coach, you're digging yourself into a hole. We did a study back in 2018 for one of our clients who insisted on calling herself a life coach. We got some of the most derogatory remarks like, oh, wasn't that the girl who was doing heroin last week? And now she wants me to tell me how to live my life.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was really so even the life coaching industry, you need to choose something and be well niched.
Be well niched. And here's the other thing too. It's really sad that with coaching, some of the different titles that people put on it, we're being made fun of on TV. We look like we're super woo-woo, whatever it is. And if you are super woo-woo, that's okay too. But the truth about this is that if you want to have clients and you want to be profitable in coaching, you have to behave like you're a professional. I can't tell you how many coaches that I work with that they say, well, I don't feel like it, or I'm nervous. When you have a job that's 8 to 6 or 7 or whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you're nervous or if you feel like it. Do you want your mortgage paid? Would you like to have groceries? Would you like to go on vacation? Your boss does not care if you feel like it or if you're nervous. You go there to do a job. And so the number one thing that I do when I work with coaches to help them to become profitable is I talk to them about, is this a hobby? Are you a wannapreneur or an entrepreneur? A lot of them, it is their hobby and that's okay, but then be honest with it and have a job at the same time so
Mhm.
that you're not so stressed out about the bills. You cannot make good decisions with and for your clients if you're needy and creepy in your sale. It's a lot like dating, that all those needy ones were like, no. But the ones that were confident and we knew that they had it handled and they didn't need us, we were far more intrigued by. It's the exact same thing with coaching.
Well, and the other thing about that too is I used to get emails when I marketed of some of my courses. I'd get like a hit the reply button and tell me where you're at. And I would get the biggest whiny stories.
Yes.
And you get that, and you're immediately like, well, that's why you're not thriving at this because you're coming up. And would you say that coaching, like when you're closing, it requires bravery?
It requires bravery, but it also requires a system. And this is the thing, you cannot just wing it with your clothes. You have to know what you're offering, who you're offering it to. You have to give people a bit of an experience with you where they understand what coaching is. It's not just a concept. And so, one of the things that I do when I'm teaching the art of enrollment is I talk about the different stages that you should be doing to help a client, a potential client, understand what coaching is, then experience what it is so that you can get to the part of being brave enough to propose working together. But if you're skipping steps, you're never going to get to that part. And it doesn't matter if you're brave or not brave, you're not going to have the opportunity to actually have that kind of a conversation.
That's very true. So, in your system, do you also have some active listening in there because you don't actually
Yes.
want to make an offer to everyone. Like if I
Yes.
hear a tone, like if somebody comes in and I ask them, like, who have you coached with before? And they start giving me a litany of people, and it was all those people fault, their
Yep.
fault. That
Yes.
I can tell there's an execution problem here, and I don't want to be the next person they're bad
That,
mouthing.
that's exactly. I love that you're saying that. So let me kind of walk through my system a little bit because I think it'll be helpful for the coaches that are listening.
Okay.
So the first thing that you want to do is you want to remember that you're the professional. You are auditioning the potential client as much as they're auditioning you. And when you take that stance on, the conversation becomes very different because it changes from, I'll take anyone who's willing to pay me. And coaches, I get it. We have all been there. We've all been where we will take anyone who will pay us. And then 1 month, 1 week into it, we're like, why did I take that person? But
Yes.
here's the deal. The very first thing you want to do is you want to have some prelim questions that you send to a person before you even allow them to get onto your calendar. And as a coach, some good questions are things like, what do you want to accomplish in the next 6 to 12 months? What have you already tried? Because the what have you already tried shows you if there's a level of readiness or are you their first rodeo? Is this the first time they've really tried anything? What's been hard? This is what we're really paying attention to. What's been hard? Is it their beliefs? Is it that they don't know how to do it? And what's at stake if this doesn't happen? After you receive those answers, this is where you get to decide, does this person feel like a good fit? If they do, you schedule a 30-minute call. In the 30-minute call, you want to set it up and let them know what's going to happen. And so I start it with, hey, Juliet, thanks for sending in your answers. Really appreciate it. Here's what we're going to get to do today. I'm going to get to know you and hear deeper about what you're wanting. At the end, there might be something here that we can talk about how to work together, or I might send you some resources. That way, too, they know that, she does not take every single client that comes through the door. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then when I get them on the call, I do ask them questions about, so tell me more about your 6 to 12 months. We go through it. I am doing the active listening. I am acknowledging. I'm listening deeper. What I'm not doing is coaching. A lot of times coaches try to make it too fast. They want to connect, they want to coach, and they want to close all in 30 minutes. You're never going to do that way if you are a high fee coach. Even if you're a lower fee coach, it's hard to do all of it and do it well. So slow down. Coaches are very worried. I have a live one on the wire. I better close them. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. If you slow it down, you're having conversation and you're listening for the person's vision. Vision is what sells. Vision is what connects. Then you have something. So after about 20 minutes, I'll say something like, Juliet, it was very nice talking to you today. I heard this, and this, and I'm wondering, what kind of questions do you have for me? And so, Julia, what do you think people are asking when they ask you the questions?
Oh gosh, how much?
How much? Yep.
Yeah.
Always, always
How
how much?
much? How much time? I don't have a lot of time. I've got my list of things,
That-
objections I've worked
Yep.
on over the years.
This is all of it, right? How much money? That's the first thing they want to know. How much time? And the rest of it can be worked out, but time and money are the
Yeah.
two that are big. So when a client asks you, well, how much is it? Or they usually say, well, now for the big question, like, how much is it? Slow it down. And what you say is, I'm glad that you asked. And I have a few requirements for all of my clients before we decide if we're going to move forward. Can I
Yes.
share those with you? And so this is the bravery part because a lot of times coaches think they're asking, I better tell them, and I better discount it on top of that, and I better do it all in the next 30 seconds. Don't discount with anybody and
Right.
don't rush it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
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 And so go ahead. What were you going to
I was
say?
going to say too, well, I want you to finish this because I was going to ask, do you help them set pricing? Because that's the thing that blows me away is they start with a price and then if somebody doesn't buy, instead of engaging you to teach them how to get people, they start discounting. So,
Yeah. And so let's go through it. So what it sounds like is if someone asks me, so how much is it? As I say, I'm so glad that you asked. Let's go through the requirements first. My first requirement is that you're ready with everything else you have on your plate and going on in your life right now. And if you were listening, coach, you heard the other things that were going on in their life right now.
mhm,
I like to let my potential clients know your life is really going to change if we work together, but it requires a level of readiness and the ability to commit and follow through. Tell me about your readiness. And then they get to tell me, like, now's not a great time. I have my mother with dementia that I need to get into a home. Now is a great time. I was born ready, whatever it is. So you just listen. Second requirement is that this is a commitment, not just to your finances, but to your follow through. I can give you everything that I have, but you're the one that has to do it. The results in coaching are 100% up to you, potential client. And
Yes.
so you have to decide if you're just hoping that someone is going to tell you what to do, you might need a consultant, not a coach. So I really slow it down, and I let them, and it might sound like I'm trying to talk them out of it. In some ways, I am because I want clients who are ready and committed and who have the finances. Then
Hmm.
the third thing that I'll say is, and let's coach. Today, we were just getting to know each other, but before we both decide that this is what you want to do for the next 6 months, I want you to have a coaching experience with me. And it's on me. They don't pay anything for that, but I schedule them for coaching. Now, if they still want to know the price, what I'll say is my highest recommendation is based on everything you've told me today about this, and this. It seems to me that your vision is blankety blank. We need to create a strategy for that. We should take a look at your beliefs and your mindset. I heard X, Y, and Z, and we should do an energy audit because you're saying you want this really great coaching business, but you're spending your time cleaning the closet. So where's the disconnect with the alignment and the values? And when you then give the price, my highest recommendation is 6 months for $15,000. My highest recommendation is 6 months for $5,000. Coaches, don't get hooked into a price. Just whatever your price is what your price is. Then you be quiet because they're going to always say, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And you get to say it is. And I wouldn't want you to do it unless you knew that you were going to get the results that you want. That's why we're going to coach. During that coaching session, you're going to get to see, are you a good fit for coaching? And am I the right fit for you? And I'm going to get to see if you're a good fit for coaching and if you're the right fit for me. Let's just bring something to the table that you'd love to move the needle on, and let's see what we can do in that hour. And so I'm not trying to close them on that first call, even if they're like, yeah, that's fine, we'll coach, but send the contract. I say, no, this is just part of my policy. Let's coach first. So you're slowing them down, you're slowing yourself down so that when it gets to things like prices, you're not automatically discounting. Because to your question of what do you do when someone's like, oh, that's too much, or they don't know what to say, is you listen. What's really the block? Sometimes with people, it wouldn't matter how much money you said it was, they're not going to invest. And the answer is always it's too much money because it's rude to ask people about money in our
Hmm.
society.
Yeah, that is so. What I really love though is that you're trying to find out if they're coachable as
Are you
well.
coachable?
A
Yes.
couple weeks ago, I got somebody on my calendar, and as I was going through, this is the strategy I would recommend. He said, well, I probably could have figured that out. And I don't really know if I want to do that work. And he's like, follow up with me next week. I did not follow up.
No,
That was
no.
someone who was
Mhm.
not coachable. So I love that you're, because that's another element here as well.
Coachable, and are you excited to coach them? So there's a lot of things happening in this. I am really interviewing them. Are they coachable? Am I excited to work with them? I'm also not going to follow up because the truth is when we're doing the just following up to see, just following up for the next steps, what you're really saying is just following up to see if you're going to pay me some money. And
Right?
it's far
Yeah.
more to just tell the truth. Just following up, are you going to pay me cash or not? Like, are we doing this or not? And if people want to work with you, they're going to follow up with you. So
Right.
when we want something as a consumer, we don't have to wait for somebody to follow up. We're following up. We're like, hey, I really want this. When can we get started? What comes next? Sometimes there is life circumstance. So if I know in that readiness question that, no, the mother-in-law has to go to a home and that's what we're focusing on in these next 2 months, I'll say, great, let's take this off the table for now. And in 2 months, I'll reach out to you, or you can, like, we'll decide who's reaching out to who, and we can see if it's a better time. The other thing, too, is let's say that you get some potential yeses and you do the coaching with them, and they sound like yes. There's three types of yeses that you need to be listening for.
Oh,
And so we have confirmation, yes, yes, I'd like to work with you. It's harmless. We have a counterfeit yes, which is Yeah, I'm interested, which really is I'm a people pleaser. I don't like confrontation and I don't want to talk to you about money. And I plan on never speaking to you again. Right? And then the third yes is a true yes. This is the yes that is full in. You know if it's a full in yes because they're saying things like, how do I pay you? When will you send the contract? What comes next? And when can I schedule?
Right.
So learn the differences in the yes. Yes is just yes, but most of the time they're counterfeit. And that's why we slow it down. Slow it down, have some requirements. Make sure you've coached them, make sure you're excited about their vision, and make sure you have a price that they can agree to and that they will pay. Because when clients start saying things like, well, I don't know if I can pay that and this and that, we're not here to talk to them about their finances. That's for them to figure out. If they want it, they are going to figure out. People figure out how to pay for timeshares that they don't use, boats that they don't use, a pair of shoes that they haven't worn. Like, if you want it, you do figure it out. And so we have to be professional enough to not say, like, oh, well, for you, I'll give it to you for $4,000 off. Then your real price is not your real price. Change your program, offer them something different if
Right.
it's that you want to work with them. You can say, I can hear that this program's too big. Why don't we take that off the table? A lot of times people have to work up to that. You can start with a real small starter package. I only do it one time. It doesn't re-enroll. From there, you would
Right.
go into this larger package. It's not going to give you all of the results that you need, but it's going to give you a taste of what it's like to work with me.
Well, the other thing is too, when people, I always tell people when you put something out there, a lead magnet or anything, make sure there's an instant gratification component because if they see results, you become their person.
And
And
that's
it's not
exactly
just,
it.
yeah, it's not just a notebook. So let's go back and talk about that pricing element where they start. Oh, I tried to sell this for 1,500, nobody bought it, so I made it 1,000. And then nobody bought it at 1,000, so I made it 500. I would
Yeah.
say if that's you, you're not in front of the right people or your messaging isn't strong. Do you help them with things like that?
100%. And sometimes it's just that your price isn't high enough. Sometimes
Right?
you don't want a $500 package. I don't know that I really want to be in the room with all of the $500 people. I want to be in the room with the people that are paying $5,000 and more because I know that there's a certain caliber that goes with it. So think about your packaging and who you want to be in the room with. When we're fishing for the bottom of the barrel, you get people who aren't as ready,
Mhm.
aren't as committed. And it's fine just to get some income generation going if you have then another program that you enroll them into and then another one. But the discounting, here's the thing to really know. Pick your price. Pricing's all made up anyway. We make up our pricing, but pick your price and stick with it. When you have three people who say yes to that price, raise your price. When we're talking about individual coaching and programs. And so if someone says like that's a lot of money, don't argue and don't discount. Really let them sit with it. And that's where then what they're really saying when someone says that's a lot of money or, I don't want to invest in that, what they're really saying is I didn't find this valuable. I
Mhm.
don't see the importance or I don't really understand what this is. So you haven't given them enough of an experience. That's why I will coach with everyone before I decide if I'm going to take them on as a client is I want them to taste it. I want them to see, like you're saying, the instant gratification of what it's like to work together. Pricing
Mhm.
becomes secondary when we want something. We do figure it out.
Yeah, yes, we do. You must have seen my closet full of shoes that I never wear because I work from home now, so they're flip-flops.
I have no shoes that I wear ever except flip-flops and slippers. Yep.
Mine are flip-flops, and I will be going into snow boots probably in the
Yep.
next couple of
That's
weeks.
it. I know. That's it.
That's what happens when you get older, folks, and you get out of corporate America. You
Yeah, you're
just
not wearing
don't.
cute shoes anymore. Your back and your feet are far more important than being cute.
Exactly. Oh, and I'm going to say that for pants too. I actually wear pants, but I talked to a bunch of coaches last week. They're like, "Yeah, I've got my PJs on." Like,
Wow.
it's
So,
like,
okay,
okay.
but think about that though, too. I hear this all the time as well. I tell my coaches to dress as
I
professionals
do.
because if you want to feel professional and you're wearing your PJs, you're not helping yourself. You're really not. And this is where you having your own coach is so helpful because your own coach can help you with pricing. Your own coach can help you with messaging. Your own coach can help you with the bravery. Your own coach can help you with this is what you say and how you say it. And even if you're seasoned and you've had a coach for a long time and you're at the part where you're like, I kind of know it all, You do know a lot of things, but your own coach can still help you. So then it's time to hire the next coach that scares you just a little bit.
Hmm.
Always be going to the next level. Coaches are not here to be our friends. They're also not here to intimidate us, but you don't want the coach that you feel like you could be buddy buddy with. You want the coach whose life that you're like, that's the business I want. That's the lifestyle I want because that coach knows something that you do not.
That is so true. And I think from a coach's perspective too, you have to watch and see if they're executing. I just had a client who spent about $40,000 and I noticed she's not executing. So I had to
Mm,
get down to the what's going on here? I'm so out of my comfort zone. I'm so scared. So I actually slowed her down and said, you know what? Next month's coaching, we're not adding anything new. We're going to go back and start executing the old because at the end of the day, I want her to tell others about the experience.
that's
And
right.
and you guys, I have to tell you, I had a couple years ago someone who signed up for a coaching program. She didn't show up until the very last session in a year-long program.
Oh my
She
goodness.
told me up front, she's like, I'll watch the videos, but I don't get it was 9 o'clock Pacific. She's like, I'm not a morning person, I'll never make it. She literally showed up on the call, badmouthed me about my program didn't work. And I have to tell you, I was so proud of my pupils, my students, because almost every single one is like, who are you and where have you been? Did you do anything? And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're always going to have these little things out there and you have to figure out like how do I manage that? Because I personally, I don't know about you, I feel bad when somebody doesn't actually work the program.
So do I. And so what I've started doing, group programs are so interesting, right? Because part of it you learn from the group dynamic, but I've
Mhm.
even started with that kind of enrollment. I won't take everyone into my group either
Yeah.
because of the person who is going to need all of the attention or is going to bring the group down or tells me up front, I'm not going to be at half of them. I already know the person that tells me they're only going to be at half and that they're going to watch the videos. They are going to badmouth and they are going to say it didn't work because they didn't work it. And so now that I'm not testing as many things and I'm not worried about income, I just tell them it's not the right time for you. Come back when it is. Here's whatever freebie I have for them. You can use this, but when you're completely ready to commit, that's when I want you to contact me. Until then, I'm rooting for you. And I really am rooting for them. I have a lot of free things that I do. I have a lot of free monthly groups for different things where people can come and join me and they can pop in and out, and that's fine. But for any kind of committed program, I need even in groups, I need people to show up 100% committed.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the only way it really works. So, tell us a little bit about that monthly that you have that monthly call. I know you have a free giveaway, but that's a free giveaway as well. And I,
Yes,
I feel like
yes.
that's a valuable way to get to know you.
So this is a really good one. This one's called Coaching for Coaches. It's a Facebook group, and Juliet has a link that she can go ahead and share with all of you. But we meet the first Wednesday of every month from 5 to 6 Pacific time. And what I am doing is I'm taking questions from coaches, but the only thing we're talking about is how to generate clients. How do you generate clients? What do you say? What do you do? What do you charge? How do you build a profitable business through service, not sleaze? What do you do? Well,
Love it.
right? Because think of it. Think of how many things are sleazy and you're like, "Ooh." And so like how do you do it through service? And so everything that I teach, I model. That means I'm doing it in my own life. And my
Hmm.
business has hit well over like far over six figures for years and years and years and years. And so I know that it's proven, it's tried and true. And so that's what this group is. I always have a topic to teach on, but then I also take a lot of just live questions as well. Maybe you have a client situation that you find challenging. Maybe you haven't really started and you're like, this is great. I got my certification as a coach. I'm a coach, but you have no paying clients. That's not really a coach, it's a hobby. You come to this group and you get bolstered up with different ways of being able to speak, different ways of being able to use your real gifts and talents, and that's the way that you do it. But that's what that group is. And then I also have some scripts that Juliet can share with you as well. Things that I talked about today about the requirements, about the three types of yes, about what do you say? What is the email that you send? When you have them with you for that first Zoom call, what do you do? How do you, oh, offer the coaching conversation? What do you say in that? And then what do you say to get it over the finish line? It's all there. And like I said, that is one that will help coaches immediately, no matter where you are in your coaching path.
Exactly. And I want to mention something to you coaches out there too. Did you just see how clear her communication was and how well she set boundaries? I had to learn that as part of coaching. And once I did, it was amazing, the results. So if that's something that is maybe hurting you as well, I rarely meet coaches who are clear, concise, and set really great boundaries like Gretchen. Even when I text her off, she's like, "I'm in Nevada enjoying vacation. Go away." No, she doesn't do that. But
In a
you
very
know,
nice
no,
way.
no, but she did. No, she does. She said, like, "I'm on a day off, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. I'll get back to you when I get back." And that's the kind of really clear communication you have to learn how to do in order to become a better closer as well.
And to not feel bad, because this is the other thing. If you're going to feel guilty the whole time with your clients, then your clients are going to run the show and they're never going to feel like they got what they needed. When we have clear boundaries as coaches of like, this is what it is, this is the container, this is what we're going to do, then there's no questions. I actually spend part of the first session with all of my clients going over agreements versus expectations
Oh,
so
that's
that we
great.
get, yeah, we get everything out on the table. This is who I am to, this is what we're going to be doing. We make agreements so that they're not just expecting some things that maybe they'll get and maybe they won't.
So you're actually putting out there the deliverables. Those are the agreements. Is this is what we're going to be able to do? And if
This,
you're really good at this, you think on your feet as well. Are there? So last week I took a
right.
new book. I took an extremely long payment plan, but that was my choice. It wasn't cutting a
Yep.
cost. It was a book called Cancer Ramblings, where she's coming back from a stage
Mhm.
4 cancer. So she's getting back on her feet. She has this great thing to share. But when you're thinking on your feet and you really want to work with someone, there are things that you can do as well
Yes.
to break that down a little bit.
100% you can be creative. For me, I like to get paid all up front. I think
I
all of
do
us do.
too.
And that's, as a professional, you should, because
Right.
then later, if people are upset or whatever it is, it's like, no, you're committed. This isn't something that you decide, oh, I'm just going to end it. You committed to this. And the pricing commitment shows readiness. But once in a while, there is someone that it's like, you know what? I can give them $3,000 of this program if I want to, and they pay the other 12 or whatever it might be. I can let them have a payment plan. I don't lead with that though. It's really an
Right.
intuition thing that, if this is the way that this is going to serve this person, it's no sweat off my back to do it.
Yeah. Now, do you have courses that you do like the DIY downloadable? Because that's where if somebody's a little sketchy, like I'm not sure they're going to do the work, I will suggest that DIY. And if they come back to me and say, "I did this, what's next?"
Right.
I know I've
Yeah.
got an action person. If they don't, or if they buy it, and you can tell on my
If they've done
dashboard,
it
they
for
never
months.
opened it.
Yep, then they're not the one. This is really good. So typically, because I will have a lot of these 30-minute conversations, if I can already tell someone's not ready, I'll give them homework and I'll say, and let me know how it went for you. If they email me and let me know how it went for them, level of readiness. If I never hear from them again, they weed themselves out on their own.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to do anything. So,
Yeah.
Gretchen, you have a package for us. Tell us a little bit about it and where the link is, we can find it.
Yes, so I have a program called Stairway to Six, and this is for coaches who want to learn the art of enrollment from the first connection call conversation all the way to the close. It's an accelerator program that's going to be starting in February, and it has 20 spots available because I'm just now opening it. I keep it to
Mhm.
a smaller group on purpose so that you can get the individualized attention that you need. We have a kickoff day, then we have a 3-day intensive, and then we have a closeout day. And it's all within like 36 days. And the reason for that is I want you to have the intensity, but you're going to leave knowing how do I find clients and what do I say to them? I bring in other master coaches and they listen to your enrollment call conversations with you. We do a lot of role play, but all of your questions about where do I find clients? How do I get clients? Oh, yeah, I have to talk to clients. We answer all of it, and you get to be very uncomfortable because I push you hard in this. That's why it's an accelerator program. And at the end, you're not as uncomfortable. And you're with a group doing the exact same thing. And these are from my coaches who they would love to learn how to earn six figures. They don't know how to do it. They're floundering. Coaching school really taught them how to coach, but it didn't teach them business development.
Yes. Yeah. Big, big, big problem. Where do we find the link for that?
The link, I gave it to you, and
Okay.
you can share that. You can share that with the group.
Okay.
Yep. So all of it's there. There are the scripts that are there and available. There's the link to the program that's available. There's the Facebook group. And then if I said something today that feels like it resonates with you and you'd like a 30-minute conversation with me, my email is in there as well. You can drop me an email and tell me, what did you hear? And then if it feels like it might be a good fit for a conversation, I'll send you over some questions and we can see if you get on the calendar.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I can't wait to see you in the magazine. I think you're going to give us some terrific insight.
Gonna be amazing.